Hey guys, welcome back. Andrew here with Ambient Endeavors, and today we're taking a look at a brand new pedal from Electronic Audio Experiments. It's their Scattering, and it's an interesting stereo reverb pedal that produces these cool, almost multi-tap delay sounds that smear into themselves to create these unique reverb textures across 4 different modes. The scattering features an MN3011 bucket brigade chip, which is akin to those chips you'd find in classic analog delay sounds. So it does share some texture and voicing with sort of what you'd imagine from an analog delay circuit. It's got that warmth and that kind of gooiness at times, and it just smears or scatters into this interesting kind of reverb texture that is unique and is dynamic across the stereo field and is percussive or rhythmic at times. It's just a really cool experience and a really cool way to arrive at an interesting reverb tone and texture. So we're going to dive in here and talk about the controls and the features of scattering and hear a bunch of sounds from it. But before we do, if you're new to the channel here, thank you so much for watching. Please hit subscribe below so you can stay up to date on future videos. Hit the like button so that YouTube knows to kind of throw these videos in front of you and the algorithm going forward. And then if you've got any questions or comments about scattering or anything else you hear or see on the channel here, drop them below in the comments and we can chat down there. I also want to mention that we've got scattering in stock at Little Box Effects, the online retail shop I curate and run. I love to just kind of handpick some of my favorites and some cool and unique and interesting pedals and curate a collection for you to go peruse. I'm always open to getting questions or suggestions or just anything you're wondering about or have questions about on that front too. So if you need some help digging through the website as you're shopping, please reach out. But again, scattering is available over there at Little Box via the link below. So John Snyder over at EAE is kind of one of those guys who behind the scenes is involved in a lot of the pedals and the circuits and the designs that are happening in the industry. He's just kind of become one of the more notable designers and pedal builders of the last 5 to 10 years. Certainly known for his unique kind of voicing and approach to overdrive and distortion boxes, but also, you know, someone who is continuing to design and develop and innovate in the reverb and delay and modulation space as well. And scattering is kind of the next evolution for him in that category of effects, although it does kind of grab back to some old technology in those bucket brigade chips. It's a really fascinating design. It's one that I think is a cool kind of mix of those warm, vintagey, analog sounds and textures, along with some really nicely implemented digital control and features and kind of comforts here. So scattering, again, is based around an MN3011 chip that's being tapped off and kind of scattered and segmented into a bunch of different delay lines and taps that is able to be manipulated into a more reverb sounding texture. So as we look at the control set, you get some fairly traditional controls in terms of a reverb. You've got your space control up here that just kind of affects the size and the space and the dimension of the reverb sound. As you dial it clockwise, you do start to get some separation between those taps and start to experience a little bit different of a texture or kind of a response from scattering in terms of those delay taps that are producing this reverb sound. You've got your mix control in the center here, which goes from fully dry to fully wet. You've got a preamp circuit, which John usually tends to sneak into these types of effects, which allows you to add some volume and also some grit and saturation to the reverb. It pairs with that to create these kind of gritty textures, again, to your tastes. The pedal itself does tend to start out at a almost clean kind of territory, and you really kind of utilize that preamp to warm it up and to give its own personality and texture to it. but it is a little bit tricky to get this pedal really pristine and clean for a couple of reasons. Those Bucket Brigade chips tend to kind of have that character of being a little bit warmer and a bit noisy, or just kind of textured in and of themselves. And then that preamp circuit comes in and really does add a little bit of texture and a little bit of saturation from the get-go there. So just a note as we go in here. Then you've got a bottom row that has some additional controls, including a filter that sweeps from very dark to kind of open and brighter as you go clockwise. You've got a dwell control, which almost acts like a feedback control of a delay pedal, which kind of extends the depth and the feedback of those delay lines and your reverb trails. It can get into self-oscillation as you get up towards 3 o'clock or so there, which is a really cool feature as well to kind of create those sustained kind of oscillating pad textures. You have a modulation circuit that gives you rate and amount here with these controls, and selection for a sine wave or random waveform modulation there. And then you've got 4 unique modes on this pedal to give you just a variety of different types and textures and kind of experiences of reverb. You've got X1, X2, matrix, and nonlinear mode. And essentially they're all just slightly different manipulations of these delay taps from that Bucket Brigade chip. X1 is a series of 6 delay taps that can be kind of smeared and scattered into those reverb textures. X2 essentially doubles the length of those delay taps, so it ends up feeling a little bit more like a multi-tap delay in that mode. Matrix mode is this kind of interwoven network of delay taps that creates this dense and deep reverb texture. And then nonlinear mode gives you almost like a reverse kind of swelling reverb type sound and experience. It's a really cool mode, and one that's fun to pair a little bit of modulation with, and maybe even go full wet for that mode to kind of create these really billowing reverb swell type effect. You've got a foot switch on the right here labeled aux, which can be used for a morph effect, which is essentially it triggers an expression type movement on one of the knobs here, and then returns to the original state when you release it. Or you can use this aux control to navigate through presets on the face of the pedal here. We're going to get to the alt functions of this pedal down the road, but first let's dive into some sound samples and hear each of those 4 modes and just the kind of gamut of different settings and sounds you can get from the scattering pedal here. I'm going to be playing a Balger Ambient Espada guitar into a EAE Limelight in boost mode, onto scattering, and then out in stereo into the Walrus ACS1 Mark II for our amp. Let's check it out. Scattering also features a number of alt functions that thankfully are labeled on the face of the pedal here. You get into the alt page by holding this little aux button here on the left side of the pedal, and then you can adjust things to kind of fine tune your sound or the overall state of the pedal. You can adjust the stereo spread of the pedal with the space control here in alt mode. You can engage a kill dry on the mix control here, adjust your overall output level with this preamp control. Then you can also set your rise and fall time for that morph function. So you can adjust whether you want it to kind of engage quick and decay slowly or vice versa, somewhere in the middle. Those are via the filter and the dwell controls here. And then you also have the ability to target a second LFO at this modulation section with dedicated rate and amount controls to just kind of add to some craziness and kind of wild and deep modulation sounds there. So we're going to dive into those and just show you the range and kind of the functions and the sounds with those alt function controls here. So that's the EAE Scattering, a new stereo reverb from Electronic Audio Experiments, and a really cool way that they've utilized that bucket brigade technology and those multi-tap delay sounds to smear and scatter together for some of those interesting reverb tones. A really cool sounding pedal if you're into those big, billowy, washy, kind of shoegazy reverb sounds. There's a lot you can do with that in that domain and the ambient kind of experimental world. And so just a fun pedal to get lost in, a fun one to turn knobs with, and just a nicely designed and great sounding pedal from EAE here. Again, drop any questions or comments you've got below in the comments and we can chat about scattering or whatever on your mind. And if you're interested in picking one of these up, please hit the link below to Little Box Effects and you can shop for scattering there. Take care.